In fact, I'll give you my name. My name's Carlo. I'm one of the docents here, or volunteers. You're going to see a whole bunch of us around here. For some odd reason, we started wearing blue shirts. VDT started wearing blue shirts like we do. This building was built in 1948, and it was built by a man named Chet Luck. He was a radio star in the United States in those days. And looking at all of you, none of you are old enough to remember the golden age of radio. Sad to say I am. Actually, it's good to say because I'm still here. Used to be a show called, well, I said Love and Abner, and the guy played the part of Love. This was mainly a summer home for him. What I like about this building is what it's built of. When you look at this whole room right here, everything you're looking at in the way of building materials was scrounged. None of it came from a retail outlet or wholesale store. Look at the brickwork or the stonework here. All the stonework from the ovens to this end of the house came from Sandstone Canyon, which is right behind the ranch. Stonework from the ovens to that end, including the garage, came from Red Rock Canyon. I think you guys just came from Red Rock. There's a place out there called the Sandstone Quarry. It was abandoned around 1907, and in that quarry they had a building where they kept their explosives. Chet Luck, the guy that had this place built, found out about that abandoned building, had it dismantled, and used it for that end of the house. And one of the ways you could tell, whether we could tell it, look at the shapes of the stones right there by the hutch. You notice they're a lot larger and better looking than the stonework over here. Well, that came from that quarry. And when you leave today, if you look at the garage, you'll see the same thing. These beams above your head, they came from a factory that was being demolished over in Henderson, Nevada. These are solid red cedar beams. Luck found out about that building coming down, buys them as scrap, uses them for the trusses in the house. The gray wood on top of it came from a church that was coming down. So again, he buys it as scrap, uses it for the inner layer of the roof. This brickwork here in the living room over in the kitchen came from Olvera Street, Los Angeles, California. We don't know what was coming down, but something was being torn down. Luck finds out about it, buys the brick, ships it up here to the ranch, uses it as you see this morning. Funny part of that story, cost him more money to ship the brick here than what he paid for the brick. But look at what he creates. This was recycling before it became politically correct. I love it. I wish I could own it. The house is approximately 4,000 square feet. At one time, it had 6 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms. This was a lady's dream. 5 bathrooms to clean every weekend. My wife's over there. She didn't hear me. Usually I feel if I have a brick coming at me when I tell that. We can't show you all the rooms for a couple of reasons, and I'll explain that as I go. For instance, upstairs were 2 bedrooms and a bath, and that's where the children stayed. Over the garage, there's a complete apartment. Well, let me back up. Today we use that for offices, so we can't bring the public up there. Over the garage, he created an apartment where you had one big room that served as a living room and a bedroom, and then another bathroom. We're using that for storage, so you can't go see that one. A lady by the name of Vera Krupp buys the place, and she expands it just like you would do. You change things. You buy a home, you want to put it the way you like it. She does that here. One of the things she did was she puts a swimming pool in on that side of the house. In order to use the pool, she puts a dressing room in, which is right over there. And in that room, you have a shower, a commode room, and a sink. So technically, bathroom number 3. So you see, these rooms keep adding up over here. Okay, I'm going to take you into the back part of the house. Okay, gang, follow me. Let me say a word because I get in trouble. This is called the Howard Hughes room. And this is to honor the fact that Howard Hughes did own the ranch at one time. That's why you see photos of Hughes on the wall, Time magazine cover. That branding iron up there was what belonged to his company, stood for the Hughes Tool Company. The wicker furniture you see here came from the old Desert Inn Hotel. The DI does not exist anymore. Where the Wynn and the Encore Hotel sit today, that's where the Desert Inn used to be. Hughes owned the DI, and many years ago they were getting rid of excess furniture, and we got some of this wicker furniture to put here. Just again to honor the fact that Hughes did own the building. Only 2 pieces of furniture, other than this, were actually owned by any of the owners of the ranch. One of the pieces is the bar. That was built for the ranch per Howard Hughes' orders. So technically we say, yeah, he did own it. Whether he saw it or not, we don't know, because he never lived here. We're not even sure if he was ever here. There's a big question mark on that. This was built, this was a sitting room. It didn't have a doorway. This lady by the name of Vera Krupp, she buys the place. She puts the door in, turns this into her bedroom. Vera is sleeping in this room when she could have been sleeping in the room across the hall. She could have been sleeping here, but no, she's sleeping over there. And this is where the story gets more interesting. Because when the house was built, that room didn't exist. There was a wall here. Chet and his wife Harriet, when they would come and visit, this was their master bedroom. Vera comes along, knocks out the wall, puts all that in, turns this into her dressing room. Do you ladies really need this much room for your clothes?
Oh, yeah.
I've been doing this for 15 years. In 15 years, I've had less than 10 women say no, they didn't need this much room. And we get people in here from all over the world. Now, I keep mentioning Vera. Let me give you a little bit of information about Vera. She was a movie star in pre-war Germany. After the war ends, along around 1951-52, she marries a man by the name of Alfred Krupp. She knew Alfred when they were children. Alfred was the head of the Krupp arms industry of Germany. That was a family-owned company. During World War II, they were making cannons for the Germans. They made 2 of the largest cannon ever made in the history of the world, even today. They were the biggest things ever made. The problem was they were making all this stuff with slave labor. The war ends. Alfred gets convicted of war crimes against humanity, goes to jail, gets out in 1952. He reconnects with Vera. They get married. Vera wants to come to Hollywood, try her luck in Hollywood. They wouldn't let her husband come here because of his being a convicted war criminal. They tried a long-distance marriage. It didn't work. Somewhere in the time she came to Hollywood, didn't make a go of it in Hollywood. The marriage also falls apart. They wind up getting a divorce. Between the time she comes to Hollywood, the time of the divorce, she discovers the ranch and buys it. Well, when the divorce happened, she got a lot of money and a lot of jewelry. One of the pieces of jewelry became the most famous diamond in the world, called the Krupp diamond. That's the diamond Richard Burton bought Elizabeth Taylor. That diamond was stolen from Vera while she was living in this house. She does get it back. Took about 6 months. The crooks got caught. She got the diamond back. Guess where they found it? New Jersey. These guys were so stupid they got caught. Nobody wanted to fence the diamond, so she got it back. That's a little bit of the biography of Vera, but I want to go into here we'll talk a little bit more about it. And I'm gonna open these up. And this may be kind of a ladies thing, but if you guys want to take a look, these are clothes that were owned and worn by Vera. This gives us an idea of the styles of the day and how tiny she was. Now, as Vera got older, she came down with type 2 diabetes, and she didn't take care of herself. She winds up suffering from complications of the disease, has to move to California for better medical care at the time, subsequently dying from complications of the disease. She didn't have any heirs. California got almost everything. She died intestate. However, her secretary got a lot of personal belongings, and she was donating, the lady's name was Peg Westberg. Peg donated a lot of those personal belongings to the ranch. That's why we have this little display. We do have more, but we just don't have the room to display it. After Vera's death, California auctioned everything off. That's how Richard Burton got that diamond, at an estate auction. Elizabeth Taylor got the better end of the deal. She got it for free. I need to close these. In the United States, wood paneling was the rage across the country, and this dates that room. This was put in when Vera bought the house, and that was in the late 1950s. So we can, this again dates the room. Here she put in a nice little dresser, and then all this is storage. I mentioned Vera came from Germany, and in Europe, the bidet, been around for many, many years. In this country, I don't know about Canada, but I know in this country, we started seeing them in large numbers about 40 years ago. I don't know where she got this, but back in the 50s, Vera gets a bidet, puts it here in this little room. I jokingly refer to this as the first bidet in Nevada. And I'm predicting 25 years from now, there's going to be a brass plaque on the highway. It's going to read, historic location 2006, first bidet in Nevada, installed here at the ranch. Now this little vanity set behind me, this was Vera's. So this is another piece of furniture we talk about. Granted, Vera's not that famous outside the precincts of this ranch, but it's part of the history, so this is kind of important to the ranch. Over here, she put in a little shower. Nothing fancy, but a little shower. But then she put 2 more rooms into this house. Those rooms are behind that mirror. To get in there, you're going to go through here. So go on in. You taller folks, especially you gentlemen, you have to step up and duck. Watch your head, please. Don't look so serious. You're here in sunny, warm Vegas. Trees, I'm sorry, I lost my pretty Rangers. Crackers. We appreciate this. This is all for us about 3/4 inch pieces. Okay. This little room here was Vera's hobby room. Her hobby was making jewelry. And what she would do is go out there in the canyons and walk around, find stones that she thought she could cut and polish. She would do it here in this room. And that's why we have that little display. None of that was Vera's, but it gives an idea of what was going on. This would be my summer bedroom. Summer temperatures out here in the daytime could get as high as 110 degrees Fahrenheit. At night, it'll drop down to 70 with 0% humidity. That kind of weather, open the doors, put the screens up, you don't need air conditioning. In fact, I guarantee you, you'll be putting a blanket on. 70 degrees with 0 humidity, it's chilly. My winter bedroom would be the one down there. Earlier I mentioned that Vera had a swimming pool. Swimming pool still here. Today, it's the biggest flower pot in the state of Nevada. If you look right out there, you can see where the pool used to be. Just follow that cement outline. Goes all the way to the other end. What had happened is that it didn't have water in it for over 25 years. It got cracked, the plumbing got all broken up. I remember when it was empty. However, they were getting ready, or getting scared. More and more people were coming to the ranch to see it, to see the ranch. And they were afraid somebody would fall in the deep end and break their neck on the ranch. And you wanted to go swimming in that pool. You would be swimming in cold, natural spring water. Even today, we do not have city water. This ranch has 6 natural springs. Combined, we have an average of 6,000 gallons of water an hour coming out of the ground. 2 of those springs account for 95% of that water, maybe even a little more. We have it, they're metered. And I've checked that meter periodically. I've seen anywhere between 150 and 200 gallons of water a minute coming out of that. That's a lot of water. Not enough for us 2 million people that live in Vegas, but for small ranching operations, that's plenty of water. You guys just came from Red Rock. I'll give you an idea of the amount of water here, and I'll give you a little bit of where I'm coming from. I grew up in the city of Philadelphia, right downtown Center City. I came out here not by choice, but coming out to the desert, I thought, oh, going to be dry, Clint Eastwood, good, bad, and the ugly type stuff. Well, we got a lot of water here. From Red Rock Canyon to Dead End, as you came out of town, all the way down here, all these mountains, we have 52 cold water springs. And my wife and I were avid desert hikers. We've hiked out here all over the place. You go back in these side canyons, I guarantee you, on the hottest day of summer, you're going to see water coming out of the ground. That's why you see all the greenery. To ranch today, we use the spring water for all our irrigation. However, OSHA 6 years ago mandated that we put in wells for drinking water for the public. So our drinking water here out there in the picnic grounds comes from natural wells. Everything else is spring water. And if you were a homeowner here, you'd swim in it, you'd be drinking it, taking a bath, cooking, whatever. It's an amazing place.